welcome to Stemettes Reactions. We'll give you just a few minutes before we get started and then we'll be getting started really soon. Hi everyone, happy Thursday and welcome to Stemettes Reactions, Day 8. Welcome to our penultimate day of Stemettes Reactions. My name's Amy and I'm going to be your host for today. Thank you to anyone who's joined us for reactions so far. So we have been running it for the past week and the past week before that as well. And we've been sharing new videos with you every day on our Zine. And we welcome you every day to join us at 4 p.m. after you've watched those videos over on the Zine at your leisure across the day. You can join us at 4 p.m. live to have a chat and talk about what you loved and what you learned in the videos that you've tuned into. We hope that you've enjoyed your day at the Stemettes Cinema, but if you've missed out, you can access the videos that we're going to be talking about today in the link that we'll share now. For each day of reactions, the videos are covering a different theme. So there's a bit of something for everyone. So if you've missed out, you can go back and see what everything was like. And today, the theme is Beyond the Sky. So get ready to hear from our amazing panel who will discuss the videos that they've been watching today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we really hope you folks enjoy this session. We've just got a little bit of housekeeping first. So if you would like to ask a question during the session, you're more than welcome to, and we'd love you to engage and join in with us. So please do that if you would like to. But please do note that the session's being recorded and your comments will be saved. So be mindful if you have your full name displayed, people will be able to see that. And this is a platform that is safe. So please be kind and respectful to each other and make sure that your comment fits with that safe space that is allowing us all to learn from each other. We'll also be sharing a feedback link at the end of the session, and it's really important to us if you fill that out, and it allows us to see if you're enjoying the sessions, and so we can keep delivering sessions that serve you. So please do take a few moments to do that at the end. So without further ado, we're going to move on to the main part of the session, which is the discussion on the topic Beyond the Sky. And we'll hear from our Stemettes who've joined us today. So we're going to introduce our panelists. And our panel are going to lead the conversation on the videos that we've seen today. First up, we've got Ayushi. Ayushi is a software engineering apprentice. Ayushi, what's your favourite food?
My favourite food, there's quite a lot actually. I don't have one specific favourite food, but right now I really love ice cream. It's so hot and I think ice cream just hits the spot right now, especially lollies. I love lollies.
Definitely. Would you go more of a Magnum or a Fab, would you say, for lollies?
I think a Fab because it's got everything. It's got the lolly, the chocolate and the sprinkles. And I love eating one layer at a time. I think that's the best way to eat a Fab.
I completely agree. I imagine that's controversial for some, but everyone's got their own preference, but I completely agree with you. Thank you, Ayushi. So next we have Aditi. Aditi is studying computer science and engineering and as an integrated master's in technology degree at NITH. And she's passionate about quantum information and computation and loves to research and learn new things. Welcome, Aditi. Hi. Do you prefer sweet or savoury?
Oh, well, I don't like sweet, so I'm going with savoury. And if I have to just narrow it down, it would probably be burgers, because you can put anything in burgers.
I think that's a really great decision. Fantastic. Love the decisiveness there. Thank you. So we are going to move straight on to our panel discussion. And that's going to be talking about Beyond the Sky. So remember, you're welcome to join in the conversation. You can engage with us by using the comment function, which you can see on whatever platform you're joining on with us. So first off, we're going to discuss our junior activity. And for this, you joined planetary scientist Dr. Susie Imber to learn about the solar system. She explained her job, her hobbies, and what it was like to be doing tests in order to be an astronaut. Susie answered all of your wonderful questions about planets, space, and why she wants to become an astronaut. You even got to have a go at designing your own module for ISS. So we're going to start off with a few questions that we've had through. So first off, what's your favourite planet? So I'm going to come to you first, Ayushi.
My favorite planet is Uranus because it's got such a lovely blue color, and it's an ice giant, and it's also got rings, and I just think it looks really pretty. And imagine just ice skating, if we're able to go there and survive there, just ice skating on Uranus. That'd be amazing.
Definitely, I think that's such a good idea as well, to go ice skating. That you've got to take your hobbies and your fun with you to your new planet, definitely. Aditi, what's your favourite planet?
Well, mine is Mars, definitely, because I think it's like the next big thing in space exploration. Like everyone is talking about Mars right now. And it's really cool that people are actually thinking of going and inhabiting Mars. So that's like something which is really great for 21st century. And for 20th, it was Moon, and we actually achieved it. So I'm like really fascinated and really interested, like what we are going to do.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy to think that within our lifetime we might actually have people on Mars, or even people living there. So you mentioned that you'd be able to go there and travel there. Would you want to go to Mars?
Oh, I would love to. Actually, since I was young, I actually wanted to be an astronaut, but like there are so many criteria and eligibility things we have to figure out through. And when I saw Dr. Susie on the show, the astronauts, do you have what it takes? I was like so inspired. so it's really cool. I would love to visit if I can someday.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing the kind of tests you would have to go through. So on that program, they went through so many different tests. How do you think you would be able to cope with those tests, Ayushi? Do you think you could do things like they were being submerged into water and had to help each other out of the tank? How would you manage with things like that?
I don't even know how to swim properly, so I think that task would be really hard for me. And I think the centrifuge one, to be able to I think she was speaking Russian while being launched round and around, and her face was just melting, but she still had to talk. It was just so hard. And all of these tests astronauts have to do is, I feel like it just goes beyond what humans are built to. So props out to astronauts who are able to pass these tests, because they look so hard.
Definitely, they are really difficult tasks, I imagine. I mean, I'm saying that I've not done them myself, but I imagine they are really difficult to do. So Susie also mentioned that she's really into all of her sport and different activities that she does outside of her solar system research. So is there anything that you do outside of STEM that you enjoy as a hobby? And do you think that that's important to help you with your downtime? So we'll come to you first, Aditi.
I was really glad when I watched the video that she actually mentioned her hobbies, because when I was young, most of the talks which I attended, they were just like, we used to study 15 hours a day and we used to do this and that, just study related. And then that would be really give me really bad anxiety that how am I going to do that? But now we are changing, we are thinking about our mental health, and which is very important. And for that, in that hobby scenario, I usually take this quote in mind. I think it was by Einstein, that I do not have a special talent, but I have a passionate curiosity. So I do anything I feel like doing in the moment. So it may range from learning a new instrument, learning a new language, to just taking a nap. So right now, I also write songs sometimes. So if I'm feeling inspired, I go to my phone and just type some words out, and then structure it to a song, or sometimes I would just go and sit by my piano and learn some chords. So it's really interesting for me. One thing which is travel. COVID affected that, but then again. And to answer the downtime and how it helps, it just rejuvenates a person. I mean, if I study for like 5 hours and I take 2 hours just to relax and do something I like, I feel very energized when I go back to my studies and then continue it. So it just gives you a new energy and new outlook to whatever you are doing. So I think it's really important.
Definitely, yeah. It's so important to have that downtime and to really think about how you can help yourself to prepare for maybe the next session of study, but also enjoying your time outside of work. Definitely. Thank you so much for talking about that. So we're going to move on now to our second video of the day, which was our STEM session. And this one was called Aerospace panel. So that was you meeting our 5 panelists who were all from the aerospace industry, and they shared their roles and how they got into them. They discussed careers in aerospace, what it's like being a woman in STEM, and advice for anyone who wants to get into aerospace. Answering your questions, they shared how they feel confident, the science of aircraft wings, and 3D printing. Just a few things out of the things that they did discuss. So, our first question is had you considered a career in aerospace before you watched the video, and would you like to now that you've watched it if you didn't before? So Ayushi, will come to you first.
I think when I was young, I used to watch a lot of documentaries on like planes and how it's made. I used to love watching how they make propellers and engines and stuff like that. And to hear the panelists talking about the things they've built, it was quite cool and I think one of the panelists mentioned that they were able to actually build, test and fly their contraption, the pedal. I think it was like a pedal plane, was it? Yeah, so that was really cool. So I think that kind of makes me want to go into aerospace too, but I think it's too late to change my career. Who knows what happens, but maybe later on I'll be able to dabble into that. I can make a paper airplane, I guess that counts.
I love that. That's the connection you've got to space. Absolutely. But it's never too late. We've got to explore these different things and still try and make any links that will help you with your interests at the minute. Because like you said, your interests change depending on what you're watching, depending on what you're doing, and that'll help you then to decide what it is that you want to do. I know I wanted to be a vet when I was younger, and now I still work in STEM, but I went down a completely different route, and that's completely fine as well. It changes depending on what you're exposed to. Aditi, did you want to do a career in space before watching the video?
Yeah, actually, I did. The thing is, when I was applying to my college applications for my undergraduate, I actually wanted to go with aeronautic engineering, but I couldn't pass a threshold, and so I went with computer science and engineering. So now what I'm thinking of doing is kind of switching my career for my postgraduate degree and doing an aerospace degree, but like I'm still wondering if it's the right thing to do. But yeah, I would definitely love to have an opportunity to work in aerospace.
It would just be such an amazing opportunity, wouldn't it? And it's just not something that everyone gets to do, but it's something that I feel like everyone sort of goes through a phase where they're like, wow, I really want to go into space, whether that's something that they want to do as a child or maybe they explore it later on. And you're actually getting to go through with that if you're getting to sort of change your postgraduate route, which is amazing to see. I can't wait to hear how that goes. So the panelists on our aerospace panel video shared what tech they couldn't live without. So I want you guys to have to think about what tech could you not live without. Ayushi, will come to you first.
This is quite difficult because we rely so much on tech. Like even this session here is backed by tech, so I think all of it I can't live without. But I think, does headphones count as technology? Yeah, I'd say headphones because it's quite nice to just listen to music and block things out. And yeah, I think it's quite a cool creation. And to also have like be able to play music and have Bluetooth headphones and how all of that works is really fascinating. So yeah, I think headphones would be my piece of tech I can't live without.
That's a really good idea. I would never have thought of headphones as my first thing, but yeah, you use them all the time, don't you? And I suppose if you're saying like things like having them as a Bluetooth headphone, then your Bluetooth comes in with it as well. So Bluetooth would also exist. So we'd have two technologies there. Fab, thank you. And Aditi, what would be the tech that you couldn't live without?
Well, I recently had an experience with bad internet connection. So I would probably say Wi-Fi because I was so frustrated that day because I had nothing to do. My online classes are, dependent on the internet, and half of the hobbies I do, I really have to surf the internet to get to something. And also, if I want to have an exercise session, I really want my music. So that's dependent on the internet. So like Wi-Fi is one thing I can't live without, really.
Definitely, I know how frustrating it can be when your Wi-Fi doesn't work. It's really funny that it's quite musically focused this as well, because you mentioned that you really like having your music for things like fitness. So you could even agree that music would be a type of technology, because without actually having all of the technology in the first place to make the music, then where would we be? So very, very interesting that there's that connection. So why do we think that it's important that the aerospace industry works sustainably? So things like improving wings and changing engines, why is that important? So we'll go to
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Should I start first, if you don't mind? Okay, so I think what I would say to this question is we are trying to explore a whole of the space, the universe, and it's a big place. And we are only doing it with the resources that are available to us on the Earth. So imagine like in 10 years, if we use all the resources for what we want to explore space, and then we have nothing left. So we can't explore space anymore, and the industry will just like shut down. And just to think of that, it's really, really a bad feeling for me because I like it. I like the exploration. I like the news. Whenever you just see a news headline that, oh, we found this on this planet, how cool is that? And I think it's really important because now the space industry is going through a change. So we are now using the advanced technology rather than the traditional methods we had before. So if you think of it right now, we can really have a sustainable development in this sector. And I think this is one of the reasons, and there are many of them out there. So maybe Ayushi would have some different ones, but there are it's really important to have that sustainability factor into whatever we are doing in aerospace or, aeronautics itself.
Thanks, Aditi. And absolutely, it's things that you wouldn't even expect to think of, like when they were coming up with us actually first going into space in the first place, we were losing materials all over the place, and that's not really sustainable to have things flying about in space that don't need to be there at all. So Ayushi, what would be your thoughts on that?
I think you can kind of look at it from two angles. So I think Aditi already covered the sustainability of it. So also looking after our planet as well, making sure that more sustainable materials are used so that we don't actually have to completely abandon Earth and let's say move on Mars, so that we can still preserve this planet. But also with the future of space exploration, looking to send people up and looking to send people to different places, having good maintenance, changing like the engines, improving wings is really important for people's safety, because you don't want something really bad going on. So I think it's really important to make sure these materials are revised again and again and checked, so that people are safe and more people are confident to go to space when they have the opportunity, because I think that scares a lot of people off, because they think, oh, they might explode in space or something might happen. But I think if we make it as safe as possible, or make it much more better for people to get exposure and also learn more about this beautiful universe that we have.
Thanks, Ayushi. That's great to see the other side of it as well, and the perspectives of getting more people out there and making it safer too. So it's something that I personally hadn't really thought about. So thanks for passing that one on. So next, we're going to move on to our final video of the day, which was Career Clinic, and that was a fireside chat with Jess Levitt. So Stemettes joined Jess Levitt, a Stemettes alumni and Scrum Master. She explained her role, similar to a project manager role, and how she got there. Jess also got us thinking about what intelligence is and how taking all the opportunities she could got her to a senior role when she was still so young. So our first question is all about intelligence. So at the start of the video, Jess mentioned to us about intelligence and how that changes from person to person. She asked us what intelligence is and what we think it is. So I'm going to come to you first, Ayushi. What do you think intelligence is?
I think intelligence is the ability to adapt and also understand what's going on around you. So you can have emotional intelligence and book smart intelligence. So I think, like mentioned in the session, there isn't one sort of intelligence, and it's not just like, oh, if I look at a person, I think they're intelligent because they can code or they can do something really good in science. It's more like being able to just understand and empathize. I think that's what intelligence is, the ability to understand.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's different for everyone, like you say. So what would be your definition of intelligence, Aditi?
Actually, before like taking a test for a company, I think because now these companies have these situational awareness tests, some of them have. So before that, I just used to think that intelligence is just the IQ thing. So only numbers and logical reasoning mattered for intelligence. But after that, I was like really shocked when I didn't score. Like I think it was pretty bad score, something about 20%. And I was like, no, that cannot happen. And that kind of got me thinking, so what intelligence is. And I think I would agree with the definition Ayushi gave, is like understanding your surroundings. And I would just say that it's just the combination of IQ and EQ. So you should have the logical reasoning, but you should also have the emotional maturity, so to say.
Fantastic, thank you. And it's great to hear you point out about assessment centres and sort of IQ tests companies get you to do. They don't always fit to exactly one person, which is something for everyone to consider if they're going through that. Remember that it's not all about that. If you do have other qualities, that's great about you as well. So we want to move on to Jess and her progress. So she's became a Scrum Master when she was only 19. So that's equivalent to the position of project manager. Had either of you thought it would be possible to become such a high-level management role when you're so young? So we'll go to Ayushi first.
I think it is definitely possible, because there's a lot of apprenticeships that allow you to do managing and management roles. So as an apprentice myself, I've seen that we as young people can work alongside older people and also be able to take on that higher role and do things that we thought we couldn't. So instead of being at school and being babied, we actually feel like we're adults. And I think Jess's story is quite inspiring, and it shows that young people can make an impact in the industry. You don't have to be like a 40-year-old or whatever to make an impact. You can just be young, and you just need to be bold. And I think Jess is bold, young, and she's very intelligent.
Thanks for that. Yeah, absolutely. She's so bold, and one of the things she mentioned in her video was all about taking an opportunity and finding those opportunities, asking for the opportunities, and actually taking them. So Aditi, would you say you're good at taking opportunities or looking for opportunities? And if not, is that something that you want to improve on?
I would say that over the last 2 years, I think I have really turned myself around, and now I've started seeing the opportunity when it comes and kind of just taking advantage of it. But it was like a difficult road to take, because you just have to be confident, bold, and you should not be undermined by whatever is happening. Because I remember applying to so many internships and just getting rejection letters, and some of the companies do not tell you that why they are rejecting you. So that's something you have to figure it out and then change yourself. So I kind of I actually reached out to Jess after the panel. I think it was yesterday when I kind of reached out to her and I said that you got the job at 19. Like, I'm 19, I have no idea what I'm doing, because but that's really awesome that how you done it. So she gave me some tips and some advices, which was really cool. And I think for now I can say that I'm pretty good, but not like very good, because I still lack in that confidence factor. I think that I would love to improve.
Yeah, and I think that's something so many people are lacking, is that confidence factor. And something that we've talked about on our Stemettes Reactions is all about imposter syndrome. And for me, I think that confidence really comes from that imposter syndrome worry that a lot of people have. And it does differ in everyone. But as you were saying, you've really just got to keep pushing through any opportunities that maybe you go for and you don't quite get there, and work out where have you gone wrong, but how can you improve, and make sure that the next time you go for a similar opportunity that you're gonna be the person at the forefront of that. So after watching Jess's video, you mentioned, Aditi, that you reached out to Jess and she gave you some tips. So for both of you, were there any tips that you learned from Jess's video that you'd like to take forward into the future? So we'll come to Ayushi first.
There was quite a lot. So you need to be confident. I think that's the main thing. But I also think you need to be your own hype woman as well. Like, with confidence, it's quite a difficult thing to overcome. And Jess did mention that she did suffer from anxiety, but to be able to also have that confidence and have that mindset that, if you don't ask, you don't get. And also the fact that it's not a big deal if you get rejected as well. I think the biggest tip is just to go out there and go for it, because what have you got to lose at the end of the day? Because you've only got to gain something, and that would probably be a really good opportunity at the end of the road. So yeah.
Definitely, yeah, and it's so important to put yourself out there in the first place. You've got to dip your toe in the water in the first place to learn how to swim. So Aditi, is there any final tips you want to leave us with that you heard from Jess?
Yeah, so in the video, she mentioned that she had a bad working experience at her first job and some of the others afterwards. So I actually reached out to her and asked that how you deal with that, because I had one bad experience and that just left me like rethinking about how I do stuff and how should I apply and how should I know that the company which I'm applying to is actually worth my time. So she just said that you should just, check out, read about the company, know what it is, ask it employers, because, they are always happy to help. They also have nothing to lose, and we also have nothing to lose. So you just got to ask. And so I think that's something, because everyone goes through some bad experience, but there's also positivity. So one positive experience and one bad experience, they kind of cancel each other out. But you just, as Jess said, you just got to persevere and just go for it. And, you can think about it, you can overthink about it, but finally, if you just need the confidence to go and get it.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. That confidence factor is so important, and you've really got to believe in yourself. And as Ayushi said, be your own hype woman to do that in the first place. So thank you so much to our amazing panel. We've now reached the end of day 7 of Stemettes Reactions. So thank you for sharing your knowledge, panel. And thank you all of our attendees for joining us. And we hope you found it fun, useful, and you've learned more about Beyond the Stars. Please remember, as we said at the beginning, that your feedback is really, really important to us. So please do let us know how you found this session. And we really do appreciate your honesty. So the link is just on the screen now. So it's just bit.ly/Stemettes React. And we'll have our last session for you. So our last live session will be tomorrow at 4 p.m. So please do be sure to join us for that too. And if you want to have another look at anything that you've watched today or anything from the past few sessions, you can access that on the Zine. So just stemettes.org/Zine/reactions. And on there, we'll have our daily upload of new videos. And we really, really encourage you to have a look at that and let us know what you thought, and then join us again at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you folks tomorrow at 4 p.m.